Hello, I'm Mrs. Collins, and today we're going to cover the basics of photographic lighting. This is a very complex subject, and we're just going to cover the highlights today. So the word photography itself means light drawing. So the idea of controlling light is very important in the art and science of photography. Photographic lighting itself is actually very complex, but it's important to know the basics as we move forward in our learning. I have a chart here that I want you to see, and you're not going to memorize all the details, but what I want you to know is that light also has color based on the temperature it is and the type of light that it is. And we have some settings on our cameras that we can use to control that color, offset it, or enhance it. Lighting is so important and can bring photography to life. We can show our images in a very photorealistic style. So what our eyes see, our camera sensor sees. But we can also get very artistic and creative with our photos and try dramatic silhouettes, control solar flares and lighting reflections, and create some very interesting looks. Exposure has to do with the amount of light coming into the camera and is what is actually taking the photograph. Exposure used to be the amount of time that the light touches the film, but now it has to do with the image touching the sensor in your camera. So we can actually overexpose or underexpose an image. The quick version is an overexposed image is one that is too bright, and an underexposed image is one that is too dark. And a mid-range or correctly exposed photo is one that is just right. There are times that photographers want to use photos that are underexposed or overexposed based on what type of look they're going for, but most of the time we're trying to get a correctly exposed image, and we can do this by controlling the settings on our camera. We have this setting called exposure compensation. Sounds really fancy, right? But it's this plus and minus button on our cameras that we can control, or we can go to +5 or -5. +5 allows us to brighten up our image, and -5 allows us to darken up our image. This is one way we can control light. We also can control the amount of light by our shutter speed and aperture and ISO and many other things. But exposure compensation is a setting on our DSLR cameras that we'll learn how to use. Contrast is an element of art, and it's also in photography too. It can create exciting drama in photographs, and we also use value often in our work. Natural light is a term that we really need to know for this next photo assignment. Natural light is a fancy way of pretty much talking about the light available from nature in the outdoors. Sunlight or moonlight or starlight. Available light is a term that refers to the light that is available in an environment that is not supplied by the photographer. It's light that is already within a scene. Ambient light is also another name for natural light. Artificial light is a light source that is produced by electric lamps. So all the light in the studio that we create is artificial light. Sometimes we want to use hard light, where we have well-defined shadows, sharp edges, and intense drama. And other times we want to have soft light, where we have very little shadows at all, and we use diffusers to soften the scene and look of our photos. Fluorescent lights are the types of lights that we have in our classrooms and in most office buildings. This is important for us to know and learn different types of light bulbs because, as I said earlier, is different kinds of light cast a hue or color. And if we can learn what kind of light is in a room, we have a setting we can change on our camera to offset that yellow or blue tone that comes from particular images. Incandescent light are light bulbs that have a filament in them, and oftentimes this is like your good old-fashioned household light bulb. We have halogen lights in some of our lights in the studio, and they have gas inside of the light bulbs and create even a brighter, more intense light. Tungsten is actually an old word. It is an earlier type of light, and this type of light bulb often gives a orange or yellow hue. LED lights might be a term that you're familiar with because we're getting more and more of them in the environments in which we work. I love our new LED lights in the studio because we have more control of the color of them, the level of light, and they last longer too. Light intensity is also something we need to know about. So we can control how bright or dark a light is, oftentimes by a controller on the lamp. We can also control the light intensity by moving lights further away or closer to our subject and using light modifiers. We can diffuse light by using a light diffuser. There's a picture there. We have some of these. Most of the time, a light diffuser is a white sheet of material, can also be plexiglass or an umbrella. A diffuser can be put on top of a light. This is a light box that we have in the studio. It can also be taken off to have a brighter light. Reflectors are a silver surface that can help you point and direct light where you want it to go. I said that they're silver, but they can also be different colors. We have some gold reflectors too. So we have some of these. They're called 5-in-1 reflector diffusers and light blockers. We're going to use these with our practicing with light photo assignment. Okay, that was a lot about light, and we can get much more in depth about light later. So that was just the basics of some of the terms you need to know for your practicing with light project. If you need help with any of these lighting terms or working with light in the studio or lighting settings, please let me know. I'm here to help you. I can't wait to see your pictures, and thanks for watching.